let's look at another reaction that we might get right in the very beginning. Once again, with his back feeling in danger. Sometimes they don't use their weight as much as they just try to change the position of their head, okay? So let's take a look. All right, I think you all can see very easily the lower his head is, all right, the easier it's going to be for me to get behind him, okay? The back is more in view, all right? It's just right there, okay? Another thing that can happen is them just simply raising their head up, okay? Which can still open up the sweep to my left, okay, coming underneath the arm and switching my hip, all right? But we also have the ability to sweep both directions, okay? So let's go to this side. Once his head comes up and my head is lower in this space than his, my ability to sweep him over here has also opened up, all right? The lower his head is, I'm not really going to do all the work to sweep him that way right now, okay? Even if I take this arm in, he still has his head and he has a lot of weight here, okay? So it's a much easier for me, if his head is low, to go towards the back, okay? And just, boom, I'm right there. But sometimes, especially in an effort to help them pull this arm out, they raise their head up. Now my head is underneath, okay? And I'm keeping my elbow, once again, very tight, squeezing, so I have a lot of tension and control behind the back of his arm and shoulder, all right? Because now I am going to let go of this sleeve and go for the other sleeve, okay? And what will happen a lot of times is that his arm will get stuck a little bit in the halfway point, which we'll talk about, okay? So I'm here, knowing that his head's up and I'm going to sweep that way. I'm going to go ahead and retract my right leg in, okay? Retracting it in so I'm strong and loaded to sweep him over to my right using my left hook, all right? So I'm here. Now I'm letting go and I'm now looking to swallow this arm completely, okay? Coming over and bringing it in, all right? And he may look to pull that arm a little bit, and what's going to happen is it's going to get stuck right in my body. As I suck this in, fall into my shoulder, and I'm already loading up with my right toes to sweep. And once again, I think there's a very strong chance you're going to be able to land mounted on this one. Getting a 6-point, for IBJJF, this will be a 6-point movement, 6-point sweep. All right, so again, we got into the side butterfly, all right? And now you're really just seeing the power of it, okay? The angle and the way we can use both our hooks to sweep both directions is just, so beautiful, all right? So I'm here, his head's up. Maybe he's trying to pull his arm, okay? Yes, he's trying to bring it out of there. This happens, all right? When I notice my head's in, I'm already going to bring my toes or my heel in, so I'm loaded to sweep towards my right. Okay, now all I'm going to do is let go and completely swallow, consume this arm. Okay, I'm wrapping around, and when I take my elbow off the ground, I'm going to fall to my shoulder. Okay, don't fall to your back. All right. As I pull this in, look how I fall to my shoulder. Okay, pulling. He's completely loaded on my left hook. Now the rest of the sweep just comes by me using my toes to get on my shoulder and follow him all the way into the mount position, okay? Let's look at this on the other side so you can see the leg work a little better. Okay? So his head's up. Maybe I have both my hooks in. When I see his head's up, you see I bring my toes through, okay? Now I'm switching my hand, getting the other arm, all right? And it works well when he tries to pull, okay? His arm gets stuck right here with my elbow, all right? Now that hand's out of the way, it's easy for me just to fall and start to guide him over completely into the mount position, okay? So that's more of a traditional butterfly guard sweep, but we're setting everything up off the angle, off the 2-on-1, that really allows us to start a step ahead, okay? Not to get too far off track, but to be able to sit up into a fast butterfly guard sweep with a traditional butterfly guard is very hard, because for sure, anything that I do where I come up to go with my sweep, I'm going to be hit with his head, the arm, all these things in my way that make it really hard for me to get him elevated and make him feel uncomfortable. Okay? Everything's about making him feel uncomfortable. And coming straight on, I'm for sure going to run into so many different points. His head, this arm, his hip being back, all these things that, it's going to be super heavy and hard for me. All right? But when we have the 2-on-1, okay, now he's uncomfortable. He's the one trying to figure out which way to go. All right? And like I said, this one here is now him lifting his head up, okay, and me switching my hands. All right? And the more he wants to pull this one, the more he just kind of got out of my way for me now to get my big, powerful sweep the other way. All right? So, just one more time reiterating why I love this style of butterfly guard so much, and the power and efficiency that is inside of this game. But I want to look at a nice option for whenever we go for a more standard hook sweep and they manage to be able to post their leg up in time to catch their base, their balance, and avoid getting swept. All right, this is a very simple technique, but super, super efficient. Works really, really well. All right, so let's say that maybe I got in, right, and due to his head positioning and my angle, I feel that I'm going to go directly to this side. All right, so I angle my sweeping leg out. All right, the leg that I use my toes. Okay, I switch my sleeve grip and I begin to go towards my sweep. All right, once I start to elevate and get him loaded, of course, he wants to avoid getting swept, and it's very common for them to post that foot up to maintain their base. Okay, and a lot of times we'll kind of consider it a failure and let them come right back, centering and working their way into a better position. All right. So the beauty here is I can change the angle really using my other leg and pulling my head out to give me room to kick that leg out. All right, so whenever I'm here, right now I'm still in this angle to sweep that way. Okay, so I'm going to use this foot and hip out and pull my head back. Now I have a different angle, and now I can reach his leg with my toes and my foot and break out his base to continue my sweep all the way over. Right? So this is where that other foot, you can really see how it is the main weapon in your hook sweeps. All right? Anytime I get stuck and I can't take him over anymore, I'm just going to keep him loaded on my hook leg, and my leverage leg can push away, and then I can create a new angle to sweep him towards a different position, okay, a different spot. All right, and I just bring my leg in and do a little bit of like a scissor motion to break that leg down and open up a new sweep. All right, so again, we're in. I decide to go this way, and he uses his leg to base. Okay, here I'm stuck, and it's hard for me to reach that leg right now. So I use my pinky toe, push myself out, and I start to load him to a new position. Okay, I have to pull my head out of the way, so now I can bring my head through and chop his leg down, continue my sweep all the way over. Let's do it one more time in this direction. All right, so we're here, we angle out. Now you're going to really be able to see my foot and the footwork here. As I go, it's not there. I push out, and then I pull back in. Bring my leg through, trip, continue that all the way over into the mount position. This is a nice little technique that you can bring in on virtually any style of your hook sweeps, gi, no gi. Anytime you go and they post, just that little adjustment, give yourself room to chop your leg down. It's something that I use all the time. For our next action reaction, we're going to be taking a little bit of a page out of Marcelo Garcia's playbook here. Him being one of the foremost, stylists of the 2-on-1, all right, and butterfly guard too, of course. Marcelo was the type that was always working to bring your arm across, to set up his butterfly guard. And what happened is, of course, the person would step their leg up, and then there's this X guard entry. All right, and that's what we're going to talk about now, and talk a little bit of why I love this entry so much. All right, so being that he's afraid of me taking his back off this angle, okay, it's super common for you to want to step that leg up to avoid your pathway to the back. Okay, now his back's higher up, I have a little more decline, and it's not quite there anymore. Okay, but it's super easy for me just to keep my opposite side hook on and just extend my leg and pull myself in to a single leg X position. Okay, which this is probably my favorite entry into single leg X because of the 2-on-1 or the cross sleeve control. Okay, his arm is all the way over here. All right, and most of the trouble that you run into when getting into the single leg X guard has to do with this arm. This arm being maybe around your head and they're pulling themselves heavy to you. Okay, exactly. Or this hand being used on your pant leg to keep your foot off the hip and then they back step. All right, numerous things, and also there are many times where their knee is on the floor, and you still have to work your way in, and they're right on top of you. Okay, so in this entry, their leg is already up. They brought it up. I didn't have to lift it. I didn't have to do anything. There was, in fact, no lift at all in this, butterfly to X guard entry. There's zero lift. He lifts his own leg. And his arm is all the way over here, all right? So he can't use it against my head, make any sort of grips, blocking my leg. I'm going to have a very smooth time getting all the way to here, all right? And with this angle, it's easy for me to get my arm underneath the leg, which is kind of that last bit of the thing where someone can give you a hard time, pulling their leg back, and it's a little hard to reach, all right? Especially if their weight's on top of you. It's hard, okay? But because their weight's all the way over there, I got my foot to his hip. This gap is always going to be there, okay? If I have to, I can do a little bit of a side crunch to give myself a little more room for me to underhook and get that leg up on top of my shoulder, okay? So again, turn this way. Just notice how I scoot in, okay? So I'm here. We already know if he lifts the other leg, he's getting swept, big time. All right, that's a no-no, okay? Never do that if you're on top. The other leg, it's possible if he's right in front of me enough to where I can reach that arm, I can sweep him this way. He is making that side easier. But what I find is that when they step that leg up, that arm tends to be a little far away. Okay, now I can't reach it. Okay? But please do keep that in mind. If they bring that leg up and this arm is right here, then swallow that just the same. Okay, and you're going to have an easy sweep that way because their leg's already up for you. Okay? But like I said, normally that arm's a little farther away, and they're kind of doing everything right at this point. Okay? What's probably going to happen after this is, since this leg's up, they're almost going to throw themselves over that way and look to try to pass to this side if they can. All right? One of the smartest things for this person to do. Okay? For sure. All right? So, please make sure your other hook is on. Okay? So you have control of that leg. All right? And then just don't wait. As long as you know that arm is too far, okay, all I'm going to do is extend my leg through that gap and pull him forward and to the side a bit as I scoot myself in, okay? Right here, all right? And keep hold of this, all right? Keep that arm away
to allow you to come under with their weight all the way over there. All right, now from here, it's super easy for me just to finish my X guard process here, okay? I'll go ahead and put in my hook for the X and extend up and look to run them down for the sweep, all right? Possibly a back take, okay? So, again, do it this way. Once again, steps up, keep the other hook on, shoot your leg through as you scoot and pull them the opposite direction. We get under, we bring our X in, extend, up. You know, maybe there's a back take. If they stay on their knees, boom, or we run them down, okay? You know, this, like, we can go on and on and on about X guard possibilities. I want to focus on the transition from the butterfly guard into just a couple of strong X guard attacks that are sitting there easy for the taking quickly, okay? Instead of going on and on and on with so many X guard possibilities, which can in many ways almost hinder you because sometimes you overthink which one that you want to do. So I'm just going to give you a few simple options. The first one, the best one, is to simply just get up right away, extend and get up in base. Once again, right away, okay, before they happen to be able to reset their weight and kind of correct their base and balance. You know, once we're in, boom, boom. Once we put the X in, just quickly extend onto your hand, foot on the floor, and please go all the way up to your opposite foot, all right? That'll be much stronger than having to stop on your knee where your posture can go. They can kick out, you know, and scramble with you a little better, all right? So the faster, the better. Hand, foot, and go, just like we're getting up in base, all right? But that will definitely be your best quick option as soon as you're in. Okay, continuing our discussion of the X guard, I want to talk a little bit about foot placement and a little bit of a different style X guard that I like to use to keep the person on their knee. All right. Of course, when you're on one knee, you're not near as athletic or explosive. All right, or heavy. Okay. So being able to maintain a one-legged X guard where they're on their knee is a big part of my game here, especially when coming from the side butterfly guard, because he's going to be on his knee, all right? It's a little different if we do an X guard entry and they're already standing. There's different discussions, different positioning that we might do. But due to the fact that we're coming into this X guard with him on one knee, I think it should be a strong part of our game to keep them there, to maintain this, all right? And then, make it much easier on ourselves to sweep them. All right, so let's say I got in. Okay, we already, boom, we have the side butterfly. We got in here. If you notice, in our last technique, I put the X guard hook on bottom, the second hook on bottom. Due to the angle of this X guard, it's a little easier for me, especially with the length of my legs, to put it on bottom. Okay, it's just a little faster, easier for me to extend and get up. Putting it on top, I have to open my right knee a little bit more than what I like, and now I don't have my knee in his ribs anymore. I like my knee in his ribs to keep his weight over there, and I can put this hook right in below, just to allow me to extend enough to get on my hand and get up in base. Okay. The other thing that I like about putting my leg down is if he starts to try to stand up, I can quickly chop his leg down. So I can come sliding down his knee to his shin, and now I can chop his leg down, okay? Stepping on the back of his calf with my right toes and lifting his foot up with my hook here, all right? And now I can make it hard for him to get up all the way up to his foot because I'm not going to let him post his foot on the floor, all right? There are times where I will do that directly, okay? instead of even putting in the X-guard hook, just going straight to his shin and his ankle and just kind of pressing and lifting that foot up right off the bat. All right. Now he's stuck and his balance is super compromised. Okay. Just kicking here with my legs positioned the way they are can already get him off balance and allow you to come up into like a stack position, okay? Where now we can start to work right into a quick pass, all right? So a nice little trick. I like to do this a lot no-gi as well, because once again, they're way more athletic when they're standing, and no-gi, with the slipperiness of it all, it's super easy to miss the position altogether. And so keeping them on their knee is a nice little extra element to this that we can do to increase our chances of a sweep. All right. So side butterfly. We get in. We put the X spool in. I might start here, and maybe I start to extend, but he stands. Now I can just follow his leg down and bring it up. Okay. Or it's up to you if you want to just go straight to that shin hook. All right? Completely your call. All right? But now, it's going to be so hard to try to bring the weight on top of you here, Alex. You can't. Between that and the fact that I still have a sleeve posted away, it's super hard. Now I just got to give it a little bit of an extension. He falls, I'm up. I can drop in, get the lapel grip, and once again, come up into a very strong position on top where we're not going to fall into any sort of a good guard. We can immediately pass and get dominant control. So, just wanted to point that out. Like I said, I don't want to do too much of an X-guard series, but once again, just give you those quick little heavy hitters that will make you, extremely successful right after you get into the one-legged X from the side butterfly. In our next technique here, I want to start to turn the page into looking how this angle can help us set up some very nice submission attacks as well. All right, believe it or not, we do have some submissions that we can be looking for from the side butterfly guard, and this specific scenario is quite common and is a really fluid transition for us. All right, so let's come to this side. Once again, I get my side butterfly guard position, okay? We've talked a lot about them, lifting up both legs and trying to adjust their weight, all that kind of stuff. Sometimes they're gonna lift that leg up, but they're gonna keep it pretty far, okay? Once again, this is a bit more of a smarter option for him. I can't use this hook anymore. If he's able to get this elbow back more towards my hip, it's possible for him to start to pass over here to the other side exactly and coming around to make something happen, okay? Of course, it's not easy, all right? He really, he's gonna let me know that he's looking for this, and I can make my adjustments very quickly, okay? So when I see that amount of space back, and I'm basically not having my right butterfly hook in operation anymore, what I wanna do is completely change the game, all right? And I'm going to take my left leg out and start to bring it around his back as I immediately scoop my leg through or shoot it through and create a triangle position, okay? So holding the belt until the very last second, all right? And basically letting go of the belt to go right to my shin so I can cinch this triangle, pinch my knees, pull the head for the finish, all right? His arm's already going to be across. So it has the potential to be a very quick and tight triangle right away. All right, and all we need to do is just bring our left leg out and shoot our right leg really kind of at the same time. All right, I don't want to do one then the other and give him the chance to feel it coming and maybe hide his arm or pull out or something like that. Okay, so when I'm here and I feel that space, my left leg comes back as I immediately scoop myself in and retract this leg tight to come over his arm. Boom. Catch the triangle, and push the hip, grab my shin to adjust it and make it tight right away, all right? Now, if maybe the angle is too great, all right? Meaning he might be too far on that side, okay? So we come out and we go for the triangle, okay? And, you know, I might not get his head completely in there, kind of lift your head up a bit. I might not get it all the way like this. It could be a little more over there, and I might be a little more off to the side, okay? So where my knee is pointing towards the floor when I lock this up, okay? In that situation, he does have a good defense here. He has a good chance, you know, to grab my knee, get on his toes, yes, and drive forward and make it hard for me to maintain my lock, okay? So knowing that, all right, this happens quite a bit when I do this style triangle, okay? As soon as I lock here, I'm immediately gonna feed and look to grab his hand, okay? I have to be in between his hand and my knee. I need to get to here right away, okay? If he gets hold of my knee, it might be too late, all right? But if I'm in front of this hand, all I want to do is pull this out and towards my body as I start to flex my hip, and you're going to end up with an Americana style shoulder lock, okay? So I'm just making sure that I beat this hand and bringing this open towards my body as I use my hip on the back of his shoulder here, creating this motion, pressing here and pulling here, all right? So once again, and this is one that I think really, you know, when you think of butterfly, you don't think so much of submissions, especially a triangle coming out of kind of the middle of nowhere right here. And them retracting this leg is super common, right? It kind of, you know, it takes away one of my hooks. It can even make it a little more difficult for me to get to his back, okay? He's sitting in the right way, getting heavy on this hook. He's kind of doing everything right. But as soon as I come out, you know, I can shoot this so fast, okay? And if he turns and stays that way, once again, like I said, I'm just trying to beat that hand from getting to my knee, okay? From here I can lock, really turn my hip over on it as I pull this out, and you get that shoulder lock, okay? So two different submissions off the same transition, same spot. You know, really smooth, something that I use a lot. And, you know, this angle, once again, is just so nice in the attack, all right? So many times you do triangle, you get stacked, right? And you have to feel weight. With this angle of the 2-on-1, there is no stack there, and you know, we don't really ever run into too much of their weight. All right, I want to follow up on the attack that we just did, looking for the triangle with the shoulder lock option. Doing a very similar movement, but now looking to catch kind of a quick and a little bit of a surprise armbar, all right? So, yeah, this side, once again, very similar situation, similar setup, okay? I can choose to go for this directly, or maybe it's just because my leg gets a little blocked and I don't feel like I can shoot over his shoulder. He might be holding my pants, something like that. But I still have this beautiful angle, okay? So I can still bring my left leg out, okay, as if I want to go around and try to bring him into the closed guard. But instead, as I come out, I'm going to just bring my knee right behind his shoulder as I pull and bring this knee in at the same time and start to pull open his sleeve grip, okay? The more I can angle my knees right in front of his head, the better. Now, he might start to turn and face me. That's okay. I just keep my knees pinched right there as I come over, right? So I have the sleeve grip. I come over right into the thumb pad, okay? And you need to understand where to put the pressure, okay? I can't pull it here. I have to feel my hip according to his elbow, okay? So I'm going to open and bring it down to where I know I have the hyperextension, all right? And of course, the sooner the better, okay? Right as we come out, changing positions, we look to get our hip into that armbar right away before he can adjust, all right? So kind of maybe climbing my foot to his hip, pulling this out as I let go and catch that hand. Okay, you see how fast I got at that time, all right? Pinching my knees, now from here, there's the finish, okay? Opening, that arm into the hyperextension, all right? You really have to feel the hand turning the elbow where you need it, okay? Don't just, come here and go straight up, and it's not really not there. Maybe I can go into another direction, but, I'm gonna miss that fast, quick attack, all right? Coming out of this directly into a full, quick arm bar, okay? So, 1, I'm sliding back as my knee comes up. You see how quick I got that knee. Okay, now I have the finish. And of course, worst case, the more he comes on top, the more I could potentially go into more of a traditional style armbar, or worst case, some sort of omoplata if he turned his arm the other way. All right, these are all little extra options, but I like the fast pull, squeeze, thrust. Okay. Boom, all of that, all together. And his arm is far from, gripping his lapel or anything like that. All right, there's not any real defense for him to do, okay? It's just all in my speed. As I come out of this, catching that hand, boom, there's my pressure right away. All right, so another nice, little submission attack that we can catch the person by surprise with, and give us a whole nother element to our butterfly guard game that is very not expected. All right, continuing on with the submission theme, I want to go back to one of our combinations that we had earlier on with our sweeps and talk about the opportunity that leads into some submission hunting as well, okay? So, going into one of the first combos we worked on, all right, from here, when they walk us down, when we underhook this arm, okay, to get the leverage to go out the other way for the sweep, all right? Once I'm under this arm and I start to bring this up, maybe I take the sweep, maybe I feel that, he's pulling his arm through, something like that. Maybe the sweep isn't perfect, okay? Whatever the case may be, the fact that I'm under this arm and I have it by my head is giving me a whole other set of options, all right, into another style of a butterfly guard game that is very, very powerful, okay? So when I'm here, like I said, it can be complete going off of what you feel, all right? Maybe I start to go for the sweep, but he's a little too heavy, too strong, or I feel that arm coming through, whatever the case may be, I'm going to immediately switch and come around the back of my arm, starting to make this style like a butterfly guard, a butterfly lock in the butterfly guard, okay, double butterfly. Go. You see, when I do this, it turns his arm over. Now, I just need to make sure that I continue moving my hip out and starting to position my legs, okay? So as I grip, I'm going to start to turn and create this angle, all right, to where I'm on my side, okay? And I'm using this butterfly hook to keep him away, to stretch him until I can bring my other foot through onto his hip and his thigh, okay? So I'm stretching him with my right leg as I'm pulling and locking this down, stretching with my right leg until my left leg now made it to his thigh. Just a second, okay? And made it here to his thigh. Keeping him locked in that position, allowing me to now bring this other knee out behind the shoulder. From here, I'm ready just to clamp down and finish this reverse armbar, okay? I really like this style, all right? My arms are very long, and I think the very first time I learned this arm lock, it was shown to me with like a clasp grip, okay, with your hands clapping together or clasping together. And this, I feel, leaves a little too much space, especially for my body type here. Like doing like this, it's hard for me to get his elbow stuck, okay? I want his elbow stuck in the bend of my elbow. So if I'm gonna bring the bend of my elbow over, for me to use my hands here, I don't have that much leverage. But when I deepen my hands here, now it's stuck and I have a lot of pull. I can use both my arms to hug his arm to my body and use my knee here behind the shoulder as well, just to lock him in position, break his posture. And now this is a very strong attack, okay? So just a little bit of reasoning why I like to go this way, all right? And essentially, the hand or the arm that's around, that hand goes to the bicep first, almost like you're doing an RNC, okay? So reach for that bicep, and then the other hand comes over to the tricep, all right? So let's look at it again from this side. We're here, okay? He walks us down flat. We come under the arm. We're looking to switch. Maybe I go towards the sweep, but I lose the arm, okay? I start to go, and I lose the arm. Now I catch this arm, all right? I lost the 2-on-1 arm or the side arm to where he's able to base on that side, and I can commit fully to this one, using my right leg to allow me to skate my hip until my foot comes onto his thigh, all right? This is very important. Now he can't drive into me anymore to relieve this pressure, okay? And from here, now I can bring my leg out and go full on into squeezing and finishing that, all right? Let's do it one more time. I won't talk quite as much now. We're here. We're thinking our sweep. Now, we've changed to the arm. All right? You know, so much of this is transferable into no-gi as well. I love this style in no-gi. You see Gordon Ryan use this a lot for a specific sweep that we'll also look at. But it all starts with this pressure that we can put on the back of the elbow and the shoulder. And you know, with the gi on, that extra friction, it's really hard to pull that arm out, and this can come on really fast.